Hello, and welcome to the Escape Pod. My name is Sammy Maida. I'm the author of Project 211. It's an upcoming book that I have coming out. I'd like to welcome you to the Escape Pod. This is where I do all my writing. Well, not all of it, but this is where the project originated at. This is actually where I do most of my model railroading and other model projects, including airplanes and ships and things like that. It is -3 outside right now in Cloquet, Minnesota. It's what is it's the 18th of February, but it's a balmy 78 in here in the escape pod. I've got a barrel stool over here next to me that supplies the heat. But what I want to talk to you today about, I want to talk to you about what Project 211 really is. The book Project 211 came to me in December of 2017 while I was working at our store in Cloquet. I got an internet story about the Nazis in Antarctica, and it read like a Indiana Jones novel, and I just kind of passed off on it, and I thought, well, what if that was really true? You know, what if it was really true? So I looked more into it and says, I was a good student of World War II history, and I've never heard about the Nazis in Antarctica. I thought it was, they didn't do it. Turns out, yeah, it's true. So I decided to run with that story. I says, okay, well, what would happen if you put the Nazis in Antarctica in World War II? And what if you had a story to go along with it? What if you had a bunch of stories that went along with it that all meshed? They all melded together. And while that sounds incredibly fun to have, you don't know how incredibly hard it is to make that all work. But I've actually found a way to make it work in this book. And the incredible irony about it is that most of this story is all true. And that's what's going to blow your mind. So, Project 211 is really a story about the Nazi effort to get the atomic bomb before the Americans. It's June 1944, right after D-Day. Hitler realizes that his generals tell him that the war is lost. You can't win. We're fighting the Russians on one end, the Americans and the British on the other. Italy has capitulated. And so now you've got this, three-pronged press coming into Germany, and Hitler's saying, we're kind of screwed. What do we have on the drawing board that can get us out of this? And he looks at some of his generals and science people. And so he comes to a guy named Erich Schumann. And Erich Schumann was the head of the V1, V2 programs and their special warfare things. And he says, well, we got V2 rockets, we got V1 rockets, and the general's kind of ho and hum. He's like, well, there's only so many rockets we can use to hold these guys off forever. Eventually, they're all going to come and take us out. And a particular general, I'm not going to mention his name, because it's central to the book. He says, well, how about the atomic bomb project that we've been working on that's been shelved? Nobody in the room, in this conference room, after D-Day, has ever heard of it, or sparingly has heard of it. So they kind of like, it's space science. We don't know anything about it. And so this guy goes and tells them about this project they have sitting on a shelf that could possibly win the war for them. And Hitler is all of a sudden intrigued. He's like, oh, okay. Well, what is this interesting project? And he says, well, it's called Project 211, my Fuhrer. It's one of the projects you authorized way back when. And how it becomes the term 211 is more of an interesting story in itself. I'll tell you that at a later time. So, Project 211 is really the story about how the Germans decide to build an atomic bomb and bomb New York City to bring America to its knees. And by bringing America to its knees, they can halt all the shipments to England. They stop all the shipments to Russia. And so since they're fighting the Russians on the other front, this is Hitler's one golden chance to say, okay, we can make a stalemate, and I can still remain the conqueror, the king of Europe, until we fortify our weapons and we can conquer the world or whatever it is he wants to do. But this is his chance by bringing the world to its knees. It's essentially it's a pause for Hitler. It's a big pause for Hitler. But he can win if this happens. There's a potential to win in his mind by doing this. So that's what Project 211 is really all about. And the twists and turns that it takes, it's quite interesting. Like I said, I'm not going to mention too much about how this all pans out, but if you scour the internet for Project 211, you're going to find goofy crap about bases in Antarctica and New Schwabenland and aliens and UFOs and all this other crap. And it all plays right into my hand. It really does. It's going to be a great thing. In the book, and this is the only one of the few divulgences I'm going to make, is that Project 211, according to everything I've researched, and I've called guys in Germany, I've called guys in the Defense Department, I've called guys at Harvard, nobody knows where the term 211 or Base 211 or Project 211 or Station 211, nobody knows where the hell 211 comes from. There's a mention of it about Karl Dornitz saying something about 211, and that's it, and nobody knows anything else about where that number comes from. So that's it. So in my book, 211 is simply a project between 212 and 2110. It's a secret project. It's like, okay, we're going to work on project. No, not 210. Wait, wait. 211, 211. There we go. We're going to go with 211. That's it. And that's how it comes about. Project 211. There's some other twists and turns in the book that you'll like. There's a German aircraft carrier that a lot of people didn't know about. There's a super German battleship that people didn't know about. There's an American battleship that people didn't know about. There's a lot of twists and turns and things in here that really did exist. And people just didn't study enough into history to realize that these things really did exist. But did they really exist? Were they truly there? Was all of this really there? Winston Churchill once said, he says, history is written by the victors. And it's written in the prologue of my book for a reason. Because it's somewhat true. So anyway, I just thought I'd give you an update on what's going on. I have 3 chapters written so far. Well, I shouldn't say that. I'm up to chapter 3. I've actually got about 5 or 6 chapters written. They haven't all fell together, so I had to rewrite a lot of stuff, and that's why it's taking. I've tried to make this very, very technically accurate, incredibly accurate to the point where I make the reader wonder, did this really all happen? And in a lot of respects, yeah, it did. But did it? So I make the reader think, and that's what I want. So I've done a lot of exhaustive research on this, and every time I run into a sentence and I realize, well, what happened here? What happened there? Could this have happened in that time period, in that specific week, in a specific day? It's been exhaustive to figure this all out. If this Panzer Division was there on that specific day, that kind of thing. So I'm hoping to make this book accurate enough where the nitpickers will kind of go, wow, the guy did his research, at least. It's going to be an exciting book to read. I hope not to dull you with it, because that's not what I intend. It's supposed to be pretty exciting. And I'm glad you're along. It's really going to be fun. And I'm excited to write it, and I can't wait to have it finished and provide it all to you. Yeah, I really can't. I'm giddy by it. So thank you all for watching this, and there's going to be more to come from Project 211. Thanks for stopping by the Escape Pod with me tonight on this balmy, frigid February night in Cloquet, Minnesota. And take care.